Right. So I know you're probably watching this and you're either really mad at me or like you probably think I'm about to say something completely different. But I think it's about time we start supporting men's wrongs. You know? We support women's wrongs all the time. And we need to start supporting men's wrongs, but not in the way that you think. Honestly, I'm probably wording this wrong. But just the way women, not even women, but like everybody that's not a man, we kind of, because like things are pushed onto us the way that it is, we're actually given the freedom to have more outlets. It's like kind of hard. Like I'm kind of doing mental gymnastics about it, but we have more emotional outlets than men do. And I was just thinking about that. Like don't get me the wrong way. Especially when it comes to like just like writing a journal. Like journaling and like having a diary and not even sharing it but just having it personally to yourself. Like you have the freedom of that, like if you're not a man, um without that subconscious like, oh, like you're weird, oh, people are gonna judge you for it, like that type of thing. And so when I say supporting men's wrongs, I mean supporting men's wrongs to society, you know? Like what what could men do that would be wrong as a man? You know? I'm not talking about like men that are evil being evil and working through the patriarchy because that is wrong. But I'm talking about men writing down their feelings and being open. They don't have to be open to other people. I understand that being open to other people would automatically like that's shut down, like that's done for. But like writing it and not sharing it for the most part until you really get the chance to work through it, that could be perfect. That could help men so much, especially when you really talk about like I've seen the men's activists, okay? Men, like the mental health of a man is very important. Men's mental health is extremely important. But the reason everybody's just taking it lightly is because they're not oppressed, which is true. They're not oppressed systematically, but they do end up oppressing themselves. And so you wonder why men don't want to be alive on the planet anymore when men don't give them the freedom to express themselves properly. So here I am saying that men need to express themselves, and they need to express themselves in multiple ways. And one of those ways, it's more acceptable through art. Like if you have a talent for art, like being a man and being an artist, acceptable. But I'm talking about every single man not going on the internet and talking to other men on the internet about how they feel about something and then creating a dangerous circle that they're in, like incels. Don't be an incel. You need to, every man needs to go home. They go home. What am I talking about? Every man needs to find a book. Not any book. You need to find a notebook. You need to find something that you can write in. And if it's not a notebook, you have a piece of paper lying somewhere. It doesn't even have to be something you keep. It just needs to be something that you can write on. And really, just write down what's bothering you right now. Write it down. Because when I say that I have been given diaries, and like having a diary has been something that has been encouraged from being very young. And because it was encouraged from a young age for me, having a diary and writing in a diary has never been weird. Women having diaries is like a big part about being a woman, especially in media. Like if you're a teen girl and you don't have a diary, like it was kind of weird, especially in the 2000s and like the late 90s. Like everybody had a diary, you know. Everybody that was a girl and a teenager in high school had a diary, and they were writing in their diary, and they were journaling, and they were writing about their day, and they were writing about their emotions. You know what? And it was encouraged. And you know what that meant? That as a kid, you wanted to write in a diary too. You wanted to share your emotions too. Even if they were fake emotions, you wanted to write down something and share your emotions to other to not to other people. Nobody else has to read your diary, but you wanted to share it to the world. You wanted to write in this diary all your deepest, darkest secrets. You wanted to write everything down that you could possibly think of to release those emotions from you, and then read them back into you. And then you know what you get to do when you do that? You get to intellectualize it. You get to think about it. You get to sit on it. And that is very important. Like, not sitting on those emotions holding them in, but like writing them down, going through them. Like, I know it's not always healthy to go through your emotions in this way, to like nitpick your emotions, but sometimes it's helpful to read how you feel, especially when you go back to it later. Or if you go back to it in the moment, you write it down on this piece of paper. You read it to yourself, read it out loud, because it's just you. Read it out loud, and you're seeing what you have written, and then you throw it away. You don't go back to it. Just know that you have released it from you, right? So, men, just like women, deserve to write it out. Write out all of that emotions. Like, it's not always healthy to put it online, because that is really what's happening. Um, if you had a book that nobody can ever see, I think it is 100% fine to write some of that crazy stuff that you feel into that book, because it is written. It is not real. This is not doing anybody harm. But then when you go on the internet and share it on Reddit, and then you create a community of a bunch of people that want to harm others, that ends up causing harm. That is dangerous. But you keeping it to yourself, not truly like keeping it to yourself, because you don't want to internalize those thoughts. You don't want to have those thoughts seem as if they represent you. But writing them out and having them to be like, oh, this is how I felt on so and so day. Like, I think people have, you can be violent. You can have those violent thoughts and write them down. Like, I don't mean like being violent as in acting on your violence, but like, I have so much stuff that I've written down in like bad moments, and then I just let it go. I get those emotions out because they are negative and they are harmful to me. They don't hurt anybody else, but they do hurt you. And if you keep internalizing them, you could end up hurting somebody else if they never like go somewhere. Like, when you as a man are bordering on being an incel, and you feel a deep hatred for everyone that's doing what you wish to do, you don't want to go go into a community that eventually will encourage you to act on those angry, dangerous feelings, right? That is bad, because now you're an angry, dangerous person in reality. Like, you're not just an angry, dangerous person on paper, you know? On a paper that nobody else will see in the world unless you share it. And like, I'm not saying you shouldn't share your emotions. Like, I don't think it is a bad thing that like people that schizo post, people with schizophrenia post about their schizophrenia. Sometimes it helps. Creating that, letting that story out helps. I've read a lot of schizo posts, you know, and honestly, letting people just work through their emotions in a written form is, it seems really helpful. And I mean, like, for everybody it's helpful, so men need to start engaging with this extremely helpful thing. You know, when like you see like an incel post and it's like, oh, they're writing fan fiction about meeting somebody. Like, They need to put that hobby that they're using online, they need to put it into some real work. You know, write a book, write a fictional book, write a fictional book about you being an incel and meeting new people. Don't share it with nobody. Write some fan fiction about life, okay? That's what I do. Write fan fiction about life, okay? It'll it makes life a little bit better. Cause and don't go down that self-hating hole where you then have somebody like beat you up or whatever. Like, don't do all of that. Don't have somebody insult you, but just like leave it open ended. Leave it as a work in progress in your journal, in your notes, whatever it is. And don't share it with the world because everybody doesn't need to see and hear your inner workings. Obviously, there's a level to being open, especially that now, like with the way the internet is, you can be open to a certain level without a community, okay? You don't need a community of people to hear every single word out of your mouth and to like we need to find community in different ways. But that's not what this is about. This is about doing something healthy to help with the unhealthy stuff that men do. So on top of writing, y'all need to start reading. And I know there's not a lot of romance catered to men, you know, but I think men with their longing and stuff would be better off reading romance. They like I know there's probably some great romance out there with a main character that's a man, or maybe we need to start making it, maybe men need to write it, and it is romance by men for men, the same way romance is by women for women, like for the most part in the category of romance. um or maybe just read the romance for women by women, like read it now, make it for everybody, you know, because it will really like you gotta live in a little fantasy world a little bit. Like it'll like your feelings of longing need to be redirected, especially like for incels and everything. Like you want to be in a relationship so bad, you want to be in a relationship so badly, and you can't. So instead of seeking out that hope, because honestly, they're hopeless romantics. A lot of these people want to get married and stuff, you know. So here you are, hopelessly romantically waiting for the right person to come along to like change your life, but instead of like being so like enriching yourself with how love could be, you become like jealous of other people's love, and that jealousy turns into like hatred for women who are like not at fault, and then it just becomes dangerous. I keep saying that dangerous word, but like it's unsafe and it's not healthy for you as a man. So like if you hate, like, just read a romance book and write down your little fantasies somewhere where nobody can see but you. And like write down your emotions and your feelings, and then you'll be a better person. I just want to encourage, like, I really think writing, having like a diary, having a journal, having something where you write how you feel is just such a great thing. Not everybody is a writer. Some people are like visual artists. But like, if you're an artist, go ahead and draw your emotions. But if you're a writer, write them things. I know like all the incels in the world are like in STEM or whatever, because those go in hand in hand or something like that. But people in STEM need to start doing arts and humanities anyways. Because when you just focus on one thing, like the other parts of you get neglected, Like numbers are not about to solve the world. They're not about to solve every issue. So why do you think it would solve every issue in your personal life? Go ahead and get that book and start writing. Is it real? Is it fiction? Whatever it is, just start writing it and keep it to yourself. I don't know. Some of these incels like write a book. Don't write a nonfiction book. Nobody wants to read a nonfiction. Write a fantasy romance or something. Write a fantasy romance and read it. And I mean, do it the proper way. Don't be weird about it. You know? Just be open and be free. Like this isn't the time to like restrict yourself, okay? Like I believe in all the men. I believe in all of them. They can do this, men. You guys can do this. Just start. We can reverse the clock, the time clock, zooming y'all down into, demise to your demise. Y'all are racing to your demise, like, but you have time to slow down. So please just slow down. Please just reflect on yourself. And if you can do that, please, it's important. I think everybody should do it. Please reflect. Please write down how you feel. Write down what you're thinking, and then reflect on it, and see what that's reflecting from you, and then let it go, and then continue to live and lead a peaceful and happier life. And anyways, if you like this, subscribe. If you're an incel trying to change your ways, like literally subscribe and just like tell me, was this helpful? Like, can you start writing in a notebook and just tell me, like, update me. Was this helpful? Even if you're not an incel and you're just, chilling, write in a notebook. Write about how happy you are in your notebook, how sad you are, how bored you are. Write about all of it. And then tell me. But don't tell me every detail. Some stuff you need to keep to yourself. But just tell me a little bit about it. And subscribe. Comments what you want me to tell me and subscribe. Thank you. And yeah, I want to see a spike in Diaries for boys. Diary of a Wimpy Kid doesn't exist for no reason. Boys should be writing in diaries too. Okay? Boys and girls, everybody needs to write in the diary because it helps them. Some people, it won't help. Some people need to find a different solution. But if you can write the words and letting that out helps you a little bit, let it out. Let it all out. I really think it is good for everybody. Please, everybody, start using diaries. Start writing, please. And start subscribing and liking my videos too.